So, hello farm friends, how's everyone doing? Sorry I haven't put any videos up for a little while. I've just been man down and unfortunately it's just me, so when I feel rough I can just about look after the animals. I just had to drag myself around basically, and videos unfortunately were the last thing on my mind, but we're back to it, feeling a little bit better but not much, but we'll get on with it. So what should we talk about first? So well, it's like 12 degrees today. I think it's the 21st of December. I can't remember exactly, but it's like 12 degrees, so that's crazy. So I'm just checking on the bees. You might be able to see them next to me flying around, which is good. Well, is it good? Isn't it good? Who knows? But they're basically doing cleansing flights, so going out to the toilet, trying to remove any dead bees or anything like that from the hive, having a clean out while the weather's nice and it's not raining. So I was reading the other day that during the winter, when the temperature drops right down, the bees huddle for warmth, and they get into this sort of like cluster. And I always thought they were a bit like penguins, rotating, but apparently not. They sacrifice the older bees, all stick to the outside, and once they've done as much as they possibly can, they just fall off and die. And I just thought it's pretty savage, But when you actually like think about it in terms of a bee and what they need to do, it's like really self-sacrificing. But they're coming out of the winter, which is probably their like most vulnerable point, so really weak, hardly any food in the hive, still maybe not that much food around, and I suppose the last thing they need is old Auntie Peggy on the old dinner table coughing and spluttering because they've managed to keep her alive through the winter, where realistically she should have fallen off. Sorry, Auntie Peggy. We haven't got an Auntie Peggy, but she probably should have like fallen off and made way for the younger, newer bees to hopefully get that little bit of food that's left over and then get out there and start collecting so the queen can start laying again. And they know this, and that's why they do it, because they're just self-sacrificing 100%. It's all for the great good of the colony. But yeah, so interesting bee fact. And then the sheep. So I've been checking on the sheep, and unfortunately I've just not been having a good time, but unfortunately I've lost 5 sheep. I don't even know how I've managed to lose 5 sheep, but I've walked the field. They're in this really big field, so I've lost sheep in there before, but then the next day they've popped up, they've been in the gorse and I've missed them or whatever. But this has been over 5 or 6 days now, and I just can't see them anywhere. But my biggest worry was that something had got to them, like worms or like a burden of them or fluke or something, and then it just caused them to go, and I'm not finding them, so that's worrying. So to counteract that, one thing I did was always in my top pocket. So in this glove in each finger of this glove is a little bit of sheep poo. Keep it close to my nose. But in each bit of that glove is a little bit of sheep poo. And what we'll do is we'll go home and we'll do a fecal egg count. So, and then we can see if there's a bit of a worm burden in the flock. But I don't think there is. Maybe in 1 or 2 of them, but I don't think there is that much of a worm burden, because we tested them. Well, I did the same thing about 20 days ago and there was nothing to worry about then. So, but these things can just pop up and happen, especially when the weather's cold. Immune system drops, especially in lamb. The immune system starts dropping because they got to focus on growing the lambs, and so you got to think constantly about what's changing and making sure they can keep some sort of condition. But it's a guessing game, and it's really difficult. So back to my missing sheep. So I can't find any dead sheep, which I'm taking as a good sign for now. But what do? You know, I've got 5 missing sheep. So the only thing I can do is I spoke to the neighbouring farmer and to see if he's seen any. He said he'll keep his eyes open, which is great. You know, they might just turn up on his front garden one day. Also, there's another sheep farmer just up the road, so I've sent him a message just asking if anything joins his flock, or if he sees anything, let me know, please. Begging. It's like when you're maybe on like a big scale, I don't know, 5 sheep's probably not much to these people, but when you're on such a small scale, 5 sheep's quite a lot, especially if they're in lamb as well. It's it can be a big, I was just getting distracted by the bees then, but it can be a big financial loss sort of thing. So fingers crossed they get found, and I'll keep you posted with those things. But yeah, I've got to do so much more manual work, but my lungs just don't want to function at all. But we'll get there, So I've got, for people that don't know much about beekeeping, while we're next to the hive, I've put these metal little circles on. They're called mouse guards. So the idea behind them is the holes that are there are big enough to let the bees in and out, but small enough to stop the mice from going in the hive. It's not the end of the world if a mouse goes in the hive, but what they do is they just create a problem. They just start chewing through the wax, and obviously they just go to toilet in the hive, and the bees don't like it. You know, they're quite clean, and they don't want their wax being chewed, because basically you come out of the winter, like I said, when it's been really difficult. You've been feeding a mouse, which isn't great, and then also you've got to repair all the damaged comb. So they're like fighting it against everything, and especially the last thing you want them really doing is doing a lot of wax building straight away, because it takes up a lot of energy, and if they haven't got the food supply there or the food stores, they're going to struggle to produce wax. But these are all things to think of as the year unfolds, and you've just got to make your best decision. But one problem is with these mouse guards, what I notice is they struggle. They do eventually get them out, but they struggle to get the dead bees in and out. So every now and then I like just to whip the mouse guard off and try and scoop as many out as possible, and then put the mouse guard back on just to give them an extra hand. But I mean, that is if I've not got much on, and because that is a very bee friendly job. They love it, but that is time consuming, and sometimes I haven't got the time to do that. So if they're very lucky, they get that treatment. Right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the sheep. I'll show you a video of that, and that's me for today, because I'm not doing too well. But I will get more videos for you soon, as it's getting close to Christmas, so we'll get the Christmas feed for the sheep, who knows, and we'll go from there. All right, see you later.